Yeah, well, actually, I drove 800
Yeah.
miles a week to see my dad, 400 miles each way. And caregiving, because of the Rosalind Carter Institute, they
Hmm.
say, and Rosalind Carter said there's two types of people. You're going to either need a caregiver or you're going to be a caregiver.
Hi there, and welcome into a brand new week of Celebrity Salute, dedicated to the men and women who serve our country in active duty, our veterans and their families. We're here for you. God bless you. We love you. On each episode, we look for people and stories with some connection to these heroes. I am Randy Miller. Welcome back to the National Defense. It's Randy Miller. And this guy, you've seen him in just about every single movie, really good movies that you've seen over the years. Steve Guttenberg is with us. Of course, Diner, Police Academy, Short Circuit, Cocoon, so many great movies. And he's got a new book, Time to Thank, Caregiving for My Hero. And Steve Guttenberg joins us here on the National Defense. Steve, how are you?
He actually enlisted and he loved the service. He loved it.
Oh,
He was
wow.
in Korea, I think it was 1954. And he loved being overseas. He loved serving his country. And he was a real patriot. He made me a patriot. I fly the flag every day in front of my house.
Oh, that's fantastic. And did your dad talk about his service a lot?
All the time. He just
That's
loved it.
great.
He was in Ansbach, Germany. Went to signal school there. He went all over. He had some quiet missions in Korea, and that were he didn't talk much about. He loved his training at Fort Bragg here in the States.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he
Oh, that's
enjoyed
fantastic.
his time very much, and he loved sea rations. He loved them, and he said they used to eat sea rations that were from World War II. That's how old they were, and he said
Yeah,
they
yeah.
stayed fine, no problem.
It's like spam.
It's like spam,
Yeah.
better than spam.
So, Steve, I went back, my wife and I last night and watched the original Police Academy. And, it's amazing how well that still stands up. I mean, it's just a funny movie. And I forgot about Bubba being in that movie.
Oh, Bubba Smith was just a great, great guy and a good actor. And here's the deal, I think, about entertainment. That's why you watch a Laurel and Hardy that is almost 100 years old and it still makes you laugh. When it's built on principles,
Right.
when anything is built on principles, it lasts. That's why classical music lasts. Great jazz lasts. Great music from the 50s, Earth Angel by the Penguins lasts
Right.
because
Right.
because it's built on principles, and that's what's great about Police Academy, that it was built on comedic principles and story and narrative that works.
Yeah, and we try to find Cocoon, but cannot find Cocoon on any platform.
No, you cannot find Cocoon. You can buy it on eBay. You can buy the DVD, but
Right.
Cocoon is actually kept under wraps. I think that the 20th and Disney, who own the rights, want to do something with it. So I think that they're just sort of
Oh,
holding it back, and at one point they'll let it fly. But
yeah. I mean,
it's very
what a
hard
great.
to see that. It's a great movie. It's very hard to get it. You can't get it streaming.
And was that Ron Howard's first movie that he directed?
No, no.
Oh,
Ron Howard, he did Splash
oh,
before that,
before.
and
Okay.
Night Shift, and right after Splash, that was his next movie.
Wow. I mean, yeah, and what a legendary career that is too. Do you ever
Yeah,
see him?
I just spoke to him about 4 or 5 months ago, and we made a plan that when I get to New York, I'll give him a call. And he lives up in Connecticut, and he's pretty busy. He's got kids and grandchildren
Yeah.
and lots of movies. But you know, that's how people in the business are. You just everyone is so busy that you
Sure.
try to make time. But the great thing is once you see each other, even if it's been 20 years, it's not a big deal.
Right. We're talking to Steve Gutenberg here on the National Defense, his new book, Time to Thank, Caregiving for My Hero. And Steve, this goes to my heart because as a show that reaches active duty military and veterans, so many veteran caregivers that are out there that we talk to all the time. And the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, we work with a program called Hidden Heroes. And so caregiving is, it's such a kind of an unappreciated act of love. And this was your dad. And a lot of caregivers are in the same city and still are 24/7. You did it from a different city, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I drove 800
Yeah.
miles a week to see my dad, 400 miles each way. And caregiving, because of the Rosalind Carter Institute, they
Mm,
say, and Rosalind Carter said there's two types of people. You're going to either need a caregiver or you're going to be a caregiver.
yep.
That's how it is. And the great thing is that there's so much information about caregiving. And that's why my book, Time to Thank, is I think so important to caregivers because it gives information about caregiving. It gives what the idea is that you're alone in a room with someone who's not well, and you've got to focus on them. See if they need ice between their lips. Do you need they need something to drink? Do they need their cushion lifted? Do they need to go to sleep? Do they need to go to the bathroom? And these are
Right.
things that a caregiver does. And when you're a caregiver, you're an angel. You are just an angel. So I think that there's a lot of value in knowing about caregivers. Excuse me, I'm just going to ask for some more hot water. Thank you.
You've got a caregiver there with you, apparently.
I got to try to get some more hot water. But I think that there's so much information out there, and that's why I wrote my book for caregivers everywhere. And I've got an Instagram account which I talked about a lot of things about caregiving on my Instagram account. And if people get a chance, I'd love them to tune into my Instagram.
What kind of things did you learn about your dad, spending a kind of time with him? Was that, first of all, was that the first time in your life that you got to spend that kind of time with your dad?
Oh yeah, it was a focused time. But the truth is, my dad and I have been close our whole lives. There
Sure.
was nothing left unsaid. I told my dad I loved him every day since I was a little boy. But this time, because my dad was ill, I was with him every day, or almost every day. And my sister Susan was with him every day. And my whole family took care of him. It was a really big deal.
And we've talked to so many caregivers on this program about just having a little bit of help, a little bit of time away, because it is that 24/7 situation. And
Yeah.
for them to even have a few hours out, it means so much. And now you were acting and you were doing your thing in Hollywood, and then you would go visit your dad. That, well, you talk about two different worlds, right?
Yeah. You try to keep your career going and your jobs going. But when, a baby cries down the hall, you run. And my dad was ill and he needed me. So I luckily have two sisters, a mom, and a wife, and lots of people who loved my dad and loved him and took care of him along with me. But I was the only son and very, very, very devoted.
Yeah, I can relate to that in my own family. When my mom was very sick, and we're based in Kansas City, Missouri, and she lived in Knoxville,
Oh,
Tennessee. But I had
wow.
a couple of really great sisters that took care of her. But it was every single day, every single hour that you had to, let's go check on mom.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you do. You love your mom, you love your dad, you love, somebody you need to take care of. And it's a very focused occupation. And that's why my book, Time to Thank, I think is important because it tells caregivers you're not alone. That you're sitting in a room alone with someone who's not well, but there are more than 53 million people in this country doing the same thing. And
Oh
it's
wow.
important that we connect.
Yeah, we're talking to Steve Guttenberg here in the National Defense. His book, Time to Thank, Caregiving for My Hero. You moved to Hollywood when you were 17?
Yeah, when I was 17 years old, um, my mom and dad let me go out to Hollywood. They gave me $300, and I had 2 weeks to become a movie star. And I came out to California, and within 2 weeks, I got a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial,
Ah,
which was pretty amazing. So I got to stay another 2 weeks, and within a month, I got a teen comedy with Phil Silvers. So I was allowed to stay another month, and it turned into a whole year. But after the year of living out there, I didn't like the culture and I didn't like being out there. So I quit and I went back to school. I went to Albany State University, upstate New York, a SUNY, State University of New York. And but within about 6 months, I got a call from my agent saying, I think I got a part for you. A movie called The Boys from Brazil, which took place in Brazil, but we shot in Portugal, and I worked with Greg Peck and Larry
Oh, wow.
Olivier and James Mason and Uta Hagen. It was pretty fantastic.
What an incredible career. I mean, just some great work that you've done over the years, Steve. And of course, the book, Time to Thank, Caregiving for My Hero. Thanks for taking the time, number one, to write this book, but thanks for taking the time with us today. Really appreciate you. And then your new book's coming out called More Hot Water, and that's coming out in the next couple of months.
More hot water. And just, I just want to tell people I'm on Instagram, and if you take a look at my what I say, it might be interesting to you. And Time to Thank is on Amazon, and I hear it's selling pretty well, and I think it'll help a lot of people, in times that they need it.
Thank you so much, Steve. Great to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back here in the National Defense. You've been listening to Celebrity Salute. Celebrity Salute is produced by Brainstorm Media and distributed by National Defense Network, with host Randy Miller and executive produced by Nate Herron. Be sure to visit us at nationaldefensenetwork.com. This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also say, Alexa, play the National Defense Network podcast.